Okay, the idea of this first part was just to make clear that ecosystems are this complex ensemble of biotic and non-biotic elements that are linked through relationships, and the process affects environment and regulates also how the environment is and works. Those activities are functions of ecosystems. They are things that would be done even without human beings, have been done for 3 billion years on Earth. But we can recognize that many of them provide benefits to human communities. So we call these functions ecosystem services. So ecosystem services are ecosystem functions that have benefits for human communities. This is the simple definition of ecosystem services. Let's see what are them in detail. So they provide us the condition for our survival and well-being, and also are classified in different categories. And we have these 4 macro categories. The supporting ecosystem services, that are those that basically allows the provision of the other 3 categories, the providing ecosystem services, regulating ecosystem services, and cultural ecosystem services. Without supporting ecosystem services, we would not have these 3 here. So to make some example of what is a supporting ecosystem services, we can go back to the example that I've made before. The oxygen production is a function of ecosystems and is a supporting ecosystem services for all the ecosystem on Earth. Also, soil production, pedogenesis, or the water provision is these are kind of ecosystem services that support the ecosystems in functioning and providing the other ecosystem services that are useful to our well-being. There are many classification systems. The one that is used in Europe is this one, the Common International Classification of Ecosystem Services, that, as I said, identify these 3 categories. So the provisioning category, that refers to the provision of raw materials, water, food, and so on. The regulating ecosystem services, the regulation category, that basically includes all the functions that basically determines regulation of environmental component like soil quality, water quality, atmosphere composition, protection from natural hazards, and so on. And then there is the last category, that is cultural ecosystem services, that are those that are related to the human interaction with the ecosystems. And it's something that is strongly related to the concept of dark sky, because, for instance, astrotourism is cultural ecosystem services that is related to dark sky and falls within this category. So just to make some clear example, when we talk about supply ecosystem services, we talk about things like pollination. So through pollination, insects allows the reproduction of vegetable species, and among those species there are food crops, fruits and vegetables. And without pollination, we would not have this kind of benefit for the human communities. So this is a kind of supply ecosystem services. When we talk about regulating ecosystem services, we can think of the role, for instance, of root trees. that stabilize soil, reduce erosion, prevent from natural disaster like landslides, and so this is kind of is not providing something like the food, but is providing regulating the stability of a slope. So it's this is the second category. And the third category is represented by the cultural ecosystem services, like, as I mentioned, the astrotourism, observing a starry sky, provide benefit in terms of enrichment, a cultural enrichment, a social enrichment. And this is something that is also related to the interaction between human communities and ecosystems. There's something in the chat. Okay, no.
There was one entering the meeting.
Going back to the European classification, 90 distinct ecosystem services are included in this classification. So you can see that there are many. These ecosystem services are characterized by flows that can measure in biophysical through biophysical assessment, or also in economic way, because let's say the water that is provided by a river catchment is cubic meter per second, but can also have economic value because we pay for drinkable water. So this is a translation from a biophysical to economic assessment, and so we can use the economic assessment to understand the benefit that is provided to the communities, but also to compare different ecosystem services that are characterized by different biophysical flows. So there are some stuff that are measured in cubic meters per second, other that are measured in microgram per liters, and so on. So it's difficult when we use the biophysical unit measures to compare different things, and using the economic value of these flows allows us to compare these different things. So there are many ways to convert a biophysical flow to an economic flow. I don't go through this, just to give you an idea that there are different approaches. But in the end, this conversion is made mainly to compare the things that are different, and as they are, they could not be compared. The assessment of ecosystem services is made in order to define management strategies, to understand what is relevant in a defined context for the community, but also for the environment, and to define strategies to achieve sustainable development goals, to guarantee the well-being of community, and also to preserve natural resources and to valorize them.